And again, I feel like somebody who is so incredibly talented should always be afforded the opportunity to shine. And, he hasn't really necessarily been given that.
What up, everyone? Shakiel Mahjouri here for CBS Sports, and you know who this is. He is the former WWE champion and a record-holding tag team specialist. He'll end your night with one kick and drop a Jamaican accent just as fast. Kofi Kingston, how are you?
Good, man, good. But you kind of breeze through that WWE champion thing. Usually we draw it out. You know what I'm saying? We twirl our hips. And being that you're standing, feel free to twirl your hips too. But I'm just gonna go ahead and redo it. You're former WWE World Heavyweight Champion! Yeah, that's how we do it. We bring the enthusiasm and the excitement to the table when we make that statement, if you know what I mean.
And where is Big E? Where is Woods when you need the support? I'll have to. We got some mutual friends in Andreas Hale, so I'll have to call him up next time and get the connection and surprise you with one of those.
Right. He got a good set of hips. He got a real good set of hips.
I bet. I'd love to hear that. Now, before we get to all the amazing stuff we got coming up, the Royal Rumble and beyond, just a quick reminder, because I always forget, if you guys like the video, please subscribe, comment, like. That's the best way you can help the channel grow. Small action, but it really goes a long way. Kofi, we know about the New Day. We know about all your tag team success, but that's not the only person that you've won tag team gold with. So, very quickly, I'm going to run through the others, and I just want you to rank them. I'm not asking you to rank your buddies, just how memorable, perhaps, those runs were. So, of course, we got Air Boom with Evan Bourne / Matt Sydal. We got R-Truth, and who can forget about the Commonwealth connection with Harry Smith?
Oh, the Commonwealth connection, yes. Yeah. See, I thought you were going to the Punk angle, but no, you went Commonwealth. Yeah. Oh, gee. Well, you know what though? So I don't like to rank things like that. I think that everything kind of has its own learning and just value. I think, honestly, with the Commonwealth connection, that was me and Harry Smith. I'm talking about it like people know nobody has.
Yeah, let's tell the Harry Smith Commonwealth connection story then. This might be a good little story time.
So me and Harry Smith, I was in Deep South. This was a developmental territory kind of farming system for WWE at the time in Atlanta. And then we did a little talent exchange because there was another developmental territory called OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling. And I was called to go up there for a couple of weeks, and they told me that I was going to be tagging with Harry Smith. And yes, this is British Bulldog's son, Davey Boy Smith. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is crazy, man. I get to tag with the British Bulldog's son. But then I started to think, I'm like, well, why are we tagging? Do we have any kind of connection? We definitely don't. And the funny story is too, because obviously, Harry Smith's uncle is Bret Hart, and I found this out afterwards. And they, Harry didn't want to tag with me, because he was already kind of an established star. He had wrestled in Japan, and done big things over there. And Bret was like, why is he tagging with this Kofi Kingston? What do they have in common? And then our common thread was that since I at the time was from Jamaica and he was from Britain, was that the Commonwealth, because the Commonwealth, Britain, Great Britain is the colony or the entity who settled or who colonized Jamaica, right? They discovered or went to Jamaica and staked claim to Jamaica. So that was our connection, was the Commonwealth. And of course, nobody knew that, but that was what they called us. And it was a team where you're supposed to work as a team when you're in a tag team, but it was always two singles matches. I would go and do my thing, tag Harry, he would do his thing, match over. So needless to say, I mean, we're great friends now, but at the time we were both just like, what are we doing? Why are you guys booking us together? But yeah, it was a thing. It was a thing.
Man,
yeah.
What could have been with the Commonwealth Connection reunion?
I know. Yeah.
Missed opportunity.
But all that to say too, I was telling you, so what I learned from that was just to be prepared, right? That was so early in my career, and yes, there was no sense behind why we were tagging together, but I looked at it as an opportunity to be able to learn from somebody who had traveled the world at the time, been to so many more countries and wrestled in front of so many more people than I had at the time. Who you want to go fishing? Yeah, go for it, man. Go. Yeah. I learned so much from Harry. Just like he's so like amazingly technical, and obviously like a powerhouse too. So a lot of the moves that he did, I couldn't do because I can't lift up people that big. I'm not as strong as he is. But a lot of those guys from the dungeon, Harry, Tyson Kidd, T.J. Wilson, Natty Neidhart, obviously, they are so incredibly technical that you can't help but learn when you're in the ring with them. So I got a front row seat to watching Harry Smith and just learning like a new style. And I appreciate the fact that they did put us together because I was able to like learn from it and just take what I learned and like applied it to the rest of my career.
We have the Royal Rumble coming up this Saturday, and of course one of the oft talked about components of that match has become, how is Kofi Kingston going to defy fate, avoid having his feet touch the floor? And you have lots of them. I know you talked about sort of the creative process of it on the New Day podcast, but before I get to my actual question, can you give me just sort of an abridged Sparks notes of what the creative process is like for you?
The creative process for me is if something comes to my head, I do it. If not, then I won't. That's it. There's no, people ask me like, oh, do you think about this all year round? I do not. Before, when Hornswoggle was with the company, we used to travel together and we would sit in the hotel literally like probably 24 to 48 hours before the kickoff of the Rumble. And then something would come to my head. He would joke around about it. And just to spite him, I would go out there and do it, like jumping on the chair and using it as a pogo stick came from a joke that Hornswoggle was like, what are you going to do? Oh, you don't have anything to do. What are you going to do? Why don't you get a pogo stick and then you can jump? I was like, oh, that's actually a really good idea. So I was in the hotel room. I actually got out of the bed and got onto a chair and started hopping with it. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to work. Let me lock the chair. Let me go hop with it. I'm like, yep. I'm going to do this in the Rumble. And now what you thought was a joke is going to be, going to be a thing. So that's really it, man. That's really it.
I haven't had the pleasure yet of speaking with Hornswoggle, but from what I gather, that guy has a lot of sass to dish out to his colleagues.
He's got a lot of sass. Yeah, to say the least. Yeah.
So the Hornswoggle one aside, because I imagine from time to time, like you suggested, that like your colleagues, maybe producers, members of creative will come up to you with like, hey, Kofi, I got an idea. Is there one that sticks out beyond Hornswoggle that someone ever pitched to you, whether or not you used it?
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, this kind of goes back to my my non-committal answer of not ranking things, but I just I try to come up with things that will get people talking. So whether like one is like more memorable than the other or one is like better than the other, like I don't know. I think that my role, or at least like at the time, was just to come up with something that was unique, and then I kind of got like, it was expected, and I'm like, oh boy, okay, well let me do something that nobody else is doing. So they've all been really, really cool. But what I will say is that like I get a lot of the credit, but there's a lot of people who are involved. Yeah. So like for example, the handstand thing, like Miz has to push my feet in a certain way. Like if he pushes too hard, I fall over and then I walk to the back. Or if he doesn't push hard enough, we do it again and it looks lame, So he had to push my legs the exact amount with the exact amount of force. When Tenzai caught me, he had to actually catch me and put me on the table. If he fell, then I'm out. If Rusev doesn't catch me and put me on the barricade, then I fall and I'm out. If that crowd from Adam Rose, the Rosebuds, don't catch me, I fall on the ground. We all walk to the back, conga line and all, So I think I get a lot of the credit for these things, but there's a lot of people who are involved in making the whole thing work. And it's I mean, I'll take the credit. You know what I'm saying? Give me what I deserve. Give me what I deserve and all. But there's a lot of people that go into the process that don't get a lot of credit as well.
And that is the beauty of the WWE. I think when we look back, I think people look back fondly on it now, but I just think KofiMania will continue to age better and better with time. It's just what a wonderful story. Everything from sort of the natural crowd response to the way that your brothers in the New Day, Big E and Woods, finally sort of cemented your WrestleMania match against Daniel Bryan. For you, when did it start to sink in? Because obviously it was supposed to be Mustafa Ali and that gauntlet in the chamber, and you were sort of a short notice replacement when he got injured. When did it sink in for you that like, whoa, this might really be happening. This might be something, because it was kind of a surprise for everyone involved.
Yeah, for me, I this is like the old jaded man being with the company for so long. There have been so many times where I've been told that something was going to happen, then I show up at the building and it doesn't happen for whatever reason. Things are always changing, right? So when I replaced Ali in that gauntlet match, it was kind of bittersweet because I know like Ali was really on the come up, and I think you see him in the ring and you see how creative he is and all the different things that he's able to bring to the table. It's awesome, and you see like a mind like that not necessarily get the chances that he deserves, and for an injury to be something that takes away a chance. I mean, not to say that like Ali would have had the KofiMania experience, because it's not, the stories are not the same, but it would have led to something, right? And the fact that an injury like took that away was kind of like I felt bad almost, but then it also kind of motivated me to really like show out, because I know that Ali would have had an amazing gauntlet match if he was in that scenario, and then in the Elimination Chamber as well. So before the Elimination Chamber, we had those gauntlet matches, and really when the people started getting behind me in that match, I think I was in the match for almost like 60 minutes, but really like 20 minutes in, people were like, oh man, wait a minute. Kofi's he's in the Elimination Chamber. Yeah, you know what? He might actually become WWE champion. How long has it been since he's been WWE champion? Oh my, it's been over 10 years. He's never been the champion. As a matter of fact, he's never even wrestled. He's never even sniffed the title. Oh my God, like we want this guy to win, So it was like, it was amazing to see that kind of support, because over the years, like you don't necessarily you don't see that, or you don't feel that at the same time, because you get people who will like come up to you and say, hey man, you deserve to be in this scene, or you deserve to be doing this, and you get them like individually, and you know that there's kind of a spattering of people who believe that that you should be getting more. But really that gauntlet match, and to hear the people in the crowd was like, oh man, like there might be something here. And then the Elimination Chamber itself, when it came down to me and DB, it was like just an amazing, like the energy was like just wild. Yeah, and then obviously like when I didn't win, like the people were like still there and like, you know what? No, we still want this to happen. So then having to like build that story in that next like 2 months, it was perfect. Sometimes you have too long to build a story where you have the potential of like losing the captivity of the audience, or you don't have enough time to really build a desire for that match to happen. So I feel like that 2 month period was like the perfect amount of time to just kind of like just guide the fervor of the people, and you knew that at WrestleMania it was going to happen, or you thought that there was the possibility became stronger. But it really wasn't until like I heard my music, or rather like when the promotional package right before the match came on, I was like, oh my God, like this is at WrestleMania. I said like this is gonna happen, man. Like, no, I'm looking around, making sure like no one's gonna come up to me and be like, oh well, we changed the plan. Sorry, we're not gonna go with you right now, and we're gonna do this. Brock Lesnar's gonna come in the middle of the match, and you know what I mean. You just have no idea, right? And speaking of Ali, that happened to him too, right? Like with the Money in the Bank situation. So, like I said, the jaded old man in me was like, I wouldn't allow myself to really fully emotionally invest in the possibility of actually becoming WWE champion, because it was a childhood dream. I think I was scared to like be hurt, to get my hopes up and be let down again. So yeah, it really wasn't until like moments before like walking out that I was like, oh my God, like this is really gonna happen. And if you watch the entrance, you see me, like Woods and E are on my left and my right, and I'm just jumping on, like using their shoulders to push myself up as high as I can, because I finally was able to like let that energy out. And the entire crowd was like, the energy was there, they brought that energy that they had been building really for over a decade, right? To see this potentially happen, not to mention being the first African-born WWE champion. You had a lot of people of color who never thought that they would see that moment. So the fact that it was like on the cusp of actually happening was like, man, this is really powerful stuff for an entertainment business, for, something, what we call entertainment. It has such a real effect on people. And to me, that was like the best part of KofiMania, was being able to give people something like the payoff that if you work hard enough at something and you work long enough and you just put your whole ass into it, it can happen for you, because beyond race, it was a story of struggle. Somebody who, like, did everything that they could do, brought unique skills to the ring, and had, the potential to be the WWE champion, just being shortchanged for year after year after year after year, and finally it was going to happen. So anybody out there like who has been through some kind of a struggle, or has been told that they're not good enough, or has been told that they can't do something, they can look to my story and say, you know what, if I work hard enough like Kofi did, it might happen for me. So that to me was the most powerful piece of the whole KofiMania experience. And that's the second time I said KofiMania, and I don't like saying it because it's not cool coming out of my mouth, because I don't know, it just sounds weird. But when everyone else says it, it was just really cool. And all the signs were there and all the emotion was there too. Big E, Woods, my family, my sons. It's just, I could go on and on, but it was, pretty incredible even to this day.
You talked about Big E, and I think, Big E had, I imagine, such a wealth of sort of knowledge and experience going into his WWE run, because obviously he was a big component in your WWE run. Now that we've seen the end of his first run, I'm going to say, as world champion, have you been able to at all look at his reign and reflect on your own as a consequence?
Yes and no. I mean, I think it's completely different. I don't really actually, now that you said that, I've never really compared the two. You know what I'm saying? I think Big E's reign was just, it was magical and beautiful in so many different ways. And the fact that you think about what I reflect on is just where he came from, because we talk about this all the time, man. We actually, we rode together this past weekend, and I brought it up and I said man, what is amazing about his reign is that he was asked by some random person, hey, maybe you should probably, do you want to give wrestling a shot, man? You'd probably be pretty good at it. And he's like, oh yeah, okay. In a weight room, right? So to me, I start tripping out, because if he decides to take a day off from the weight room that day, he doesn't meet that person. He doesn't, he doesn't walk by that same path at that certain time, and he's not seen by that person that asks him this question that's going to change his life, So you have somebody who didn't have a wrestling background. He had a football background. He was a teacher, a TA. And he decides to shift his whole course of career and life towards this wrestling thing and, industry. And he took it and he ran with it and got exponentially better with every step he took. He never took a step backwards. He always had the potential from a looks perspective, he's just a freak of nature. When you see somebody like that, you turn your head, which is obviously a big part of being a WWE superstar, being able to garner the attention of somebody and entertain people in that way, to have a look. But his skill and his ability to, again, to move a crowd is unmatched. There are very few people in this industry that can move a crowd the way that he does on the mic, and he does it in such a different way. Just galvanizes people, gets people on their feet and gets them to believe in themselves, You like that word, yeah. So he just, he's able to, that's really unique. So to see somebody who, again, when he debuted, he was Dolph Ziggler's bodyguard. And then all of a sudden, they told him hey, you got to go out there and you got to be stoic. You got to be big. So you see him out there with a serious face on and folding his arms and looking big and intimidating and brooding. And then they had the nerve to tell him hey, you know what? You don't have enough personality. And it's what? You told him, you said to strip all personality out of your persona and go out there and look big and menacing. That's what you told him to do. So now you're saying, well, he doesn't have any personality. And now you're on the verge of pulling him off the main roster because of what you told him to do. So the fact that he's able to he was able to take that and make it into what he did, being with the New Day gave all of us an opportunity, myself, Woods, and E, to shine in a way that we had not been afforded the opportunity to do so. Like myself, they never gave me a mic, just go out there and smile and do some cool moves and have a match. Kof, all right, that's my role. You know what I'm saying? And now with the New Day, it's like, okay, you have a mic. Oh, wow. Oh, he can talk. Wow, he's pretty funny. Like, or at least I think I'm funny. Or, these guys have pretty good chemistry. Same thing with Woods. He never got a chance to like do really anything. Now he's in this group and he's able to go out and entertain in the way that he was able to. And for E in particular, like now they put the mic in his hand and it's like, oh boy, we got something special. Got this big menacing guy who can move his hips like I've never seen, and it tantalizes me. It makes me want to find out what's up, but I don't want to get too close to him because he might get angry and he might punch me in the face, So it's like, I think, with E's run, like the culmination of it was just somebody who took the scraps that they were given and they kept on building and building and building and building into the entity that he is now. And, he just was so deserving of that championship. I think that he covered all the bases. He checked off all the boxes with regard to what he brought to the table. And I say it in a bunch of different interviews, like, over and over, but just he's, the way he's able to move people, his look, his athleticism, and his demeanor and his approach to the WWE and the wrestling industry. He's a student of the game, so it was someone who had worked really from nothing. From being like nothing in this industry to beating the odds and being something that he wanted to be versus what he was told to be. And now he's the champ. So that story in and of itself to me was like, wow, what a journey. And I remember sitting in Gorilla and just being like, oh my God, like when he was about to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I'm like, I can't believe this is going to happen, in Boston of all places where I grew up. So it was a little extra sauce on the plate, So yeah, it was just so well deserved, and again, just such a beautiful story. And like you said, the first run of many, because I'm sure he's going to be champion again at some point in time.
Well, let's not sell his mic work on the boxing promos short either. Those are amazing.
Yes, sir. So crazy.
Before we wrap up with just a couple quick fun stuff, just because I hear you praising Mustafa Ali so much in this interview and in past interviews, I just wanted your quick thoughts on sort of the impasse that him and the WWE are at right now.
Yeah, well, it's kind of crazy, man, because I feel like, I don't know, it's a really complicated industry, man. And, I feel for him. I feel for him because I understand like the frustrations that he's going through. And again, I feel like somebody who is so incredibly talented should always be afforded the opportunity to shine. And, he hasn't really necessarily been given that, and that is one of the most unfortunate natures of our industry. I don't know how to change that. It's been like that for quite some time. But I don't know. I guess we'll just kind of see like where it all goes. I'm a firm believer in everything kind of happening for a reason. I think that when it's all said and done, he will have grown from this whole experience for sure. I don't know where it's gonna end. I don't know where it's gonna go. But he'll always have my support in terms of just my desire to want to see him do well, because he is so incredibly talented, not just in the ring, outside the ring too. And as a person, just somebody who really wants to have a major impact on the world. So I'm hoping that, that he's able to find some peace in the whole situation. And I hope it all, when the cards all fall, I hope that everything, I mean, he's gonna be fine regardless, but I hope he's able to find some happiness at the end of it when it's all said and done, with the light at the end of the tunnel. So and you see I am the light. You see what I'm saying? You see what I did there? I didn't mean to do that, but I do hope he sees some like light at the end of the tunnel, because regardless of what happens, there's gonna be big things for him and his future for sure.
I don't know how old you were when you moved from Kumasi, Ghana to the USA, but what's your favorite part of African culture? Or Ghanaian?
Favorite part?
Or I mean, Africa's a big continent, so please boil that down to as specific as we can get. If you have specific Kumasi culture, I'd love to know about it.
Yeah. No, I think that, and I was talking about this with somebody, but like the Ghanaian culture is so very welcoming. As a matter of fact, when I won the WWE Championship, the synchronicity or serendipity of it was that the president had labeled it as the year of return, where he invited all of the Ghanaian diaspora to come and visit the motherland, right, and see where your roots where they came from, right? And to see where you came from. And people from all over the place came to Ghana to just be reconnected with the motherland. And I was talking to somebody, and we were talking about how like the Ghanaian people are just so welcoming and friendly and inviting. And I felt every ounce of that when I went back there in 2019, because before that, I hadn't been back since 1994.
Wow.
So that was, you know what I mean? Like what, 26 years or so that I hadn't been able to reconnect. You know, like I have a huge family over there, aunts, uncles, cousins, you know, my grandparents are over there. So yeah, just to be a part of a culture that is just so welcoming. And then I start like thinking about like my parents. I'm like, man, I've never heard them say that like they dislike anybody. I can't think of one person that my family dislikes, you know? And I think that's like the nature of the Ghanaian people, is that we are so welcoming, and then, and that we, you know, just want people to be happy, right? We want to experience like good vibes all around. So
love
I
that.
really appreciate that. I really appreciate that about my people.
Amazing. Kofi, I can't wait until we do this again, because I feel like we just scratched the surface, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being so generous with your time. I'm going to leave you with the last word, so I'm going to do my part right now very quickly. Guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, notification bell, thumbs up, comment, shake your hips while you do it. All that goes such a long way to helping grow this channel. Thank you so much to CBS Sports for empowering the video. Full written feature on cbssports.com in the description of this video. Kofi Kingston, you got the Royal Rumble headed your way. I'm excited for it. I thank you so much for your time. If there's anything you want to let the people know, I know you got a mic on your hand almost every week, but here's another chance to do so.
Oh man, come on, man. I think again, like the most important thing in life is to believe in yourself. And I know that's really kind of like a stereotypical kind of cliche thing to say, but really briefly, and I'll try to be brief because I don't tend to be brief, and I'm already being long in my attempt to be brief. But I will say that like when it comes to like the WWE, I was not supposed to make it by all standards. I'm not the tallest, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the strongest. I don't have an inner chest. I don't have a strapping chest. My legs are very skinny. You know what I mean? There's a lot of weird things about me that don't say WWE superstar, but here I am because I believed in myself, you know, I've been able to achieve so many incredible things, and meet so many incredible people. So I tell anybody out there who has a dream, you owe it to yourself to go out and attempt to follow it. Because I mean, like, if it doesn't work out, all right, you can go back to your dead end job or whatever it is that you're doing. But if it does work out, it's the greatest thing in the world. And this is the way that life is supposed to be lived, where you have a job where you don't even feel like you're going to work. You know what I'm saying? You don't even feel like you're going to work. So yeah, man, just believe in yourself and go get what you want to get in life.